Part 189. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1881. Su Tianqian buried her head in my chest and sobbed quietly. Soon, her tears wet my chest. I hugged Su Tianqian tightly, for fear that she would suddenly disappear. Xiao Su, I don't want to leave, I really don't want to leave, but this is my life. Su Tianqian has already seen through life and death. However, she did not accept the fact that she left me. This is the first time Su Tianqian has cried so sadly in my arms. My vision has long been blurred by tears. Su Tianqian slowly raised his head and looked at the broken bridge not far away. Snowflakes flying all over the sky fell gently on the broken bridge. The waning moon hangs high, and the desolate moonlight pours down, reflecting the loneliness of the broken bridge. The remaining snow is like silver, the frozen lake is like ink, and the black and white are separated, which is particularly touching. Su Tianqian said quietly, the broken bridge is covered with snow, lonely and no one passes by. I looked at the broken bridge and felt extremely sad. At this moment, my eyes suddenly fell into darkness. My eyes can no longer see. I reached out in panic and touched Su Tianxian's face. Why would you blind me at this moment? I couldn't even see Su Tianxian's last glance. Why does God treat me so cruelly? Su Tianqian also discovered that I was blind. She comforted her softly, Xiao Su, don't be afraid. I'll give you my eyes. From now on, you will see the world on my behalf. I shook my head crazily and said, no, Tianqian, no. At this time, I felt Su Tianqian gently hold my face, and then kissed my forehead gently. After the kiss, Su Tianqian fell into my arms. Her breath became weaker and weaker, her body became colder and colder, and her voice became smaller and smaller. Xiao Su, don't give up, you must survive, and you have to live a good life alone without me. Su Tianxian's words were silent. I couldn't feel Su Tianxian's breathing, couldn't feel her heartbeat, and couldn't see her voice or smile. The universities flying in the sky are like my heart, floating everywhere with nowhere to live. I recalled all the things that happened between me and Su Tianqian. From the first encounter, to the later apprenticeship, to the later love. In the ancient temple of mortals, love flows eastward, words cannot be spoken, words cannot be written, the paper is short but the love is long, and we are separated from now on. Tianqian. I hugged Su Tianxian's body and burst into tears. I lost her after all. After all, I lost everyone around me. I tried hard to protect everything, but in the end it was just a dream. Suddenly, I felt that my throat was extremely sweet, and I spurted out a mouthful of blood. The grief in my heart, like a tide, made me extremely exhausted. I'm tired, really tired. I really want to go with Su Tianqian like this. But, I also have a daughter who no longer has her mother. As a father, I cannot leave her. I don't want my daughter to end up like me. I stood up staggeringly and walked down the mountain with Su Tianxian's body in my arms. The darkness in front of me made me lose the way I came, and the night wind whistling in my ears made me unable to hear the sounds of the world. I hold Su Tianxian's body tightly. All I can do now is to protect her body and bury it properly. She has left me, and I don't want to have a place to pay homage to her in the future. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1882. It's dark and cold underground. She would definitely be scared. But what can I do now? Just when I was devastated, I felt a sharp pain in the back of my head. I immediately felt dizzy and my consciousness disappeared. My last thought before I fell into coma was to protect Su Tianxian's body. I don't know how long it took, but I opened my eyes faintly. The darkness in front of me has dissipated and I have regained my light. I struggled to sit up and looked around in panic. The familiar room made me realize that I was back in Ji Yuntang. I staggered up and ran towards the outside of the house. As soon as he arrived at the door was opened. What caught my eye was looking for Zhao Mian. "Hey, are you awake?" Zhao Mian looked at me and said. I stared at Zhao Mian fiercely and asked loudly, "Did you knock me unconscious?" Zhao Mian nodded and said, "That's right." I grabbed Zhao Mian's neck and asked loudly, "Why? Why do you do this? Where is Su Tianxuan's body? Where is her body?" Zhao Mian did not struggle, but looked at me quietly. He just said lightly, "Why? Of course it is for our plan. Su Tianxian is just a burden to you when she is alive. Only when she is dead can you have nothing to worry about." With scarlet eyes, I yelled at Zhao Mian crazily, You knew that the Nuwa stone was on Su Tianxian. You still lied to me. It was you who killed her. It was you." Zhao Mian sneered and said, "Yes, that's right, I lied to you. I didn't expect you to be so stupid." "No, I can't say you are stupid. I can only say that you care about her too much. Even if there is a glimmer of hope, you will hold on to her." Just when I was about to kill Zhao Mian, a scream suddenly sounded. "Lu Su! Don't do this." I was slightly startled and looked around, only to see Long Ji hurrying towards me. She quickly pushed me away and said to me, "Lu Su, calm down first. This whole thing is not what you think." I looked at Long Ji blankly. Su Tianxian told me before he died that Long Ji was Miao Fengluan. While I was stunned, Miao Fengluan quickly pushed Zhao Mian out and locked the door. My legs went weak and I collapsed directly on the ground. Miao Fengluan stepped forward and helped me up, saying, "Lu Su, things are not what you think. Just listen to what I tell you." I looked at Miao Fengluan with dull eyes. Miao Fengluan looked seriously distressed. "I know you can't accept all this, but all this is the result of Sister Tianxuan's own choice. She knew that her life was not long, so she cooperated with Zhao Mian to lie to you that the Nuwa stone could extend her life. But in fact, the Nuwa stone is in Sister Tianxuan's body. Her real purpose is to enter the coffin in your place and replace your 5 senses and limbs. Let you complete the next thing." When I heard this sentence, my body couldn't stop shaking. What? Tianxian entered the sky coffin. Miao Fengluan nodded and said, "Well, Sister Tianxian entered the coffin for you and replaced your limbs and 5 senses. In this way, you can survive." When I learned the truth, I instantly felt breathless and dizzy. Miao Fengluan comforted her softly, "Sister Tianxian is stupid, right? But everything she does is for you. Don't blame Zhao Mian, let alone give up on yourself. You haven't met Lu Ling yet, have you? I'll take you to meet her." End of chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1883. Dear Lu Ling. Miao Fengluan nodded and said, "Well, your and Sister Tianxuan's daughter is here now. I will take you to see her." With that said, Miao Fengluan pulled me to Su Tianxuan's bedroom. I came to the bed tremblingly. I saw a tiny baby lying on the bed. The baby has a chubby face and 2 arched eyebrows. As Su Tianxian said, "My daughter's eyebrows look like hers, and her lips and nose look like mine." At this moment, Lu Ling was lying on the bed sleeping soundly, her long eyelashes floating up and down like butterfly wings as she breathed. The moment I saw Lu Ling, my heart melted instantly. My daughter is very cute, white, chubby, and pink. You can't help but pick her up and love her. I stretched out my trembling hand and gently touched Lu Ling's chubby face. When my hand touched Lu Ling's little face, she slowly opened her eyes and then yawned. She didn't cry, she just looked at me curiously with her big watery eyes. Meow Fengluan said on the side, "It's very cute." I cautiously reached out tentatively to pick up Lu Ling. At this time, Lu Ling opened her chubby little hands and grabbed me, and then talked to me babblingly. I gently held Lu Ling in my arms. Lu Ling looked at me curiously, then stretched out her chubby little hand to scratch my face. Hey! Her little hand was like a newly unfolded flower, soft and fragile. My heart instantly melted by her. Her skin was as white as snow, almost a hint of pink, and her eyes were big, like two obsidians. I could even see my own shadow in her eyes. I trembled and said to Lu Ling, "Xiao Lu Ling, I am your father." Lu Ling tilted her little head and looked at me with innocent eyes. She seemed to be wondering what I meant. Giggle. Lu Ling suddenly let out a milky laugh. Her laughter is so innocent that it seems to dispel all the gloom. I held Lu Ling tightly in my arms, and tears couldn't stop falling from the corners of my eyes. This is my and Su Tianxuan's child. Her name is Lu Ling. It's my little angel. It is the best gift Su Tianxian left to me. Lu Ling is really well behaved, she doesn't cry or make trouble, she just looks at me curiously. It was obviously the first time that she and I met. She was very affectionate to me, and kept squeezing my face, my mouth, my eyes with her little hands. Miao Fengluan suddenly said, "Lu Su, for the sake of Sister Tianxian and Lu Ling, you must not do anything stupid. Lu Ling has lost her mother, but she can't live without her father anymore." I held Lu Ling and looked at Miao Fengluan and said, "Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid. I will raise Lu Ling up." This is what Tianxian hopes for and what I hope for. When Miao Fengluan saw what I said, she frowned and finally showed her expression. "Fengluan, thank you very much." Miao Fengluan shook his head and said, "It's not hard, I also like Lu Ling very much." I looked at Lu Ling in my arms and made a face at her. Lu Ling was amused by me and giggled. Seeing her smile, I thought of Su Tianxian. I love her. However, her love for me has already surpassed everything. She secretly did so many things for me and gave birth to Lu Ling for me. If there was no Lu Ling, I think I would have gone with her. The only sad thing in my heart is, Su Tianxian can't raise Lu Ling with me. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1884. I said to Miao Fengluan, "Fengluan, you should take a rest first. I will take care of Lu Ling in the next few days." Miao Fengluan nodded and said, "Okay. These days, I will take good care of Lu Ling every day. Take her outside for a walk and play with her toys." Lu Ling is also very obedient. She doesn't cry or fuss when she goes to bed at night, and she always giggles at me. As for Zhao Mian, I don't know where he went. I still have something to ask him, but I can't find him now. That night, I coaxed Lu Ling to sleep as usual. Lu Ling, who is usually very good, cried profusely tonight. Miao Fengluan heard the noise and came to check quickly. However, after being comforted by Miao Fengluan, Lu Ling not only did not calm down, but actually cried even harder. Miao Fengluan and I were at a loss about this. At this time, Miao Fengluan suddenly said to me, "Lu Ling must be missing her mother." My body trembled slightly when I heard this. These days, I take care of Lu Ling every day and try not to think about the fact that Su Tianxian left. But every night I think of Su Tianxian. The memories between me and her came flooding back to me like a tidal wave. Every time at this time, I would burst into tears. 10 years of life and death are so vast that I cannot forget them without thinking about them. I just realized the meaning of this sentence today. I carried Lu Ling to the room where Su Tianxian once lived, because there was Su Tianxuan's aura in this room. These days Lu Ling stays in the same room as me. Because I don't want to dirty or mess up Su Tianxuan's room. Whenever I miss her, I can come here to express my thoughts. Sure enough, Lu Ling became quiet when she came to this room. Miao Fengluan breathed a long sigh of relief when he saw this scene. At this moment, the room door was pushed open. I saw Zhao Mian walking in. Zhao Mian glanced at me and went straight to the bed. He looked at the sleeping Lu Ling on the bed and said softly, "This child is so cute." I looked into Zhao Mian's eyes and suddenly saw a touch of tenderness in his eyes. Zhao Mian subconsciously reached out and touched Lu Ling's face. I didn't stop it. After Zhao Mian touched it, he stood up and said to me, "Okay, I know you have something to ask me, so come with me." I nodded, asked Miao Fengluan to take care of Lu Ling, and then walked out of the room with Zhao Mian. The two of us came to the living room. Zhao Mian sat on the sofa and said to me, "Lu Su, Su Tianqian is willing to die because of my words. I don't regret this matter, and I don't ask you to forgive me, because I have long forgotten it after living for so long. I am a human being. There is countless blood on my hands and countless lives on my body. The word devil is not enough to describe me. Let's go, I'll take you to meet Su Tianqian. When you see her, you will understand everything." Su Tianxuan's body is now in the sky coffin. If you want to see Su Tianqian, you must go to Tian coffin. Zhao Mian stood up slowly, quickly kneaded the secrets with his hands, and then a magic circle appeared in front of Zhao Mian and me. At this moment, a dark door suddenly appeared in the formation. Zhao Mian opened the door and walked in. I followed closely behind. On the other side of the door is the vast sea of stars, which is where the sky coffin is stored. Zhao Mian led me to the sky coffin and said, "Open it and take a look." I took a deep breath and stretched out my trembling hand to push the coffin away. Inside the coffin, Su Tianqian was lying quietly inside. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1885. There are 9 levels in the sky coffin. But these 9 levels must be entered using special methods. And directly open the coffin, he is a coffin. Su Tianqian was wearing a white dress, just like when I first saw her, she was so beautiful and otherworldly. I watched Su Tianqian reach out and gently touch her cheek. When my hand touched her cheek, I froze immediately. Because, Su Tianqian has a soul in his body. I couldn't believe it and quickly cast a spell to check Su Tianxuan's soul. After viewing this, I cried with joy. Although Su Tianqian died, his soul and body were well preserved. It stands to reason that if Su Tianxuan's inheritance fails, both body and soul will be destroyed. But now, Su Tianxuan's body and soul are not damaged at all. In other words, Su Tianqian may still survive. At this time, Zhao Mian came to me and said, "Actually, I lied to you and Su Tianqian. I was the one who caused Su Tianxuan's inheritance to fail, and it was also my fault that she was willing to die. However, letting Su Tianqian enter the sky coffin is the best choice. The sky coffin is made up of the souls of heaven and earth. As long as Su Tianqian stays inside, her body and soul will not dissipate." I looked at Zhao Mian and asked excitedly, "Since you do this, it proves that you have a way to resurrect her." Zhao Mian nodded and said, "There is indeed a way to resurrect her, but the price is your life." I was slightly startled and asked, "Is that legend true?" "Well, the legend is true. Only when you enter the sky coffin can you make a wish and heal all regrets. Su Tianqian is a descendant of Nuwa. When she enters the coffin, she can only guarantee that the coffin will not be destroyed." I asked with some confusion, "Why?" Zhao Mian explained, "You already know this question, why do you still ask me? The sky coffin was created by you using the soul of heaven and earth. When you created the sky coffin, you integrated your own energy into it. To put it simply, you and the sky coffin are one. and the existence of the soul of heaven and earth can repair everything, and the resurrection of the dead is a piece of cake. I fell into deep thought after listening to Zhao Mian's words. Now my 5 senses and 4 limbs have returned. The reason for returning is that Su Tianqian paid for it with his life. But now, as long as I lie down in the sky coffin, I can use the soul of heaven and earth to resurrect Su Tianqian. At this moment, I finally understood Zhao Mian's painstaking efforts. Su Tianxuan's death is destined. But Zhao Mian protected Su Tianxuan's soul and body in his own way and gave him a glimmer of hope. Zhao Mian continued, I have expected this day. Su Tianqian is your weakness. If she dies, you will have no fighting spirit. Only by giving Su Tianqian a chance to survive can you rekindle your fighting spirit. Although I, Zhao Mian, lie a lot, I can swear on my life that I didn't lie to you about this matter. However, you must also know that once you enter the sky coffin, you will fall into boundless darkness. As time goes by, you will merge with the sky coffin, and when the time comes, the souls of heaven and earth will return to heaven and earth. Zhao Mian patted me on the shoulder and said, I have already won the opportunity for you. As for how to choose, you know what to do. I looked at Zhao Mian and said gratefully, thank you. Zhao Mian was startled, then rolled his eyes and said, no need to thank me, everything I do is for myself and my lifelong pursuit. End of chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1886. Zhao Mian is not a pitiful person. He gave up his humanity, his kindness, and everything for that goal. People are pursuing pursuit all their lives. Zhao Mian is like this, I am like this, everyone is like this. Zhao Mian and I lived in the sky coffin for 8 years. As for him, my hatred for him has long faded with the passage of time. People like him who do evil things will not end well. However, in my heart, he is no longer my enemy. But my friends and brothers. Zhao Mian, if you were to live again, what would you do? I asked Zhao Mian. Zhao Mian fell into silence when he heard what I said. He was silent for a while, then raised a wry smile and said, do you think there is an afterlife for people like me? After this whole thing is over, I will atone for my sins and make up for the mistakes I have made. But I know that even if I live a poor life, I can't make up for it. My ending is the same as yours, only death. I smiled and said, then let's die together. What's the big deal? You won't be alone on the road to hell. Zhao Mian looked at me coldly, and then couldn't help but taunted, who wants to die with you? Stop being so sentimental, okay? It makes it seem like you are going to die in love with me. Ha ha ha. It's true that it's not good for 2 grown men to say such disgusting things. I looked back at the sky coffin, then leaned down and kissed Su Tianxuan's forehead gently. Tianqian, don't worry, I will definitely make you come back to life. After you are resurrected, take good care of Lu Ling on my behalf. I closed the sky coffin and said to Zhao Mian, let's go, get ready and go to the tomb of the gods. Everything must come to an end. This trip can only succeed, not fail. If I fail, Su Tianqian will have no chance of survival. Not only Su Tianqian, but all the people in the world will also pay for my failure. Zhao Mian nodded and left here with me. After returning to Jiyuntang, Zhao Mian told me. You still have 2 days to get along with your daughter. After 2 days, I will come to you and then go to the tomb of the gods. I nodded and said, okay, I understand. Afterwards, Zhao Mian left. I returned to the room and looked at the sleeping Lu Ling, who couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth slightly. Lu Ling, Dad will definitely bring your mother back. By then, you will no longer be a child without a mother. I looked at Lu Ling and said with tenderness on her face. Miao Fengluan asked at the side with some confusion, Lu Su, what do you mean by this? I stood up and said, Fengluan, come with me. Miao Fengluan and I left the room. Fengluan, I also want to tell you a few things. Miao Fengluan was slightly startled and said, if you have anything to say, as long as I can do it, I will definitely do it. Even if I can't do it, I will do it for you even if I risk my life. I smiled and said, don't say I will die. In 2 days, I will go to the tomb of the gods to complete the last thing. This trip is extremely dangerous. I will definitely not be able to come back. If I can't come back, you must take good care of Lu Ling. Miao Fengluan said emotionally after hearing my words, Lu Su, didn't you already promise Sister Tianqian to live a good life? I replied, I did promise her to live well, but now I have a way to make her live. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1887. Really, really. Miao Fengluan grabbed my shoulders excitedly. I nodded and said, really, but the price for saving Tianqian is my life. Miao Fengluan was immediately stunned on the spot. She was stunned for a moment and wanted to say something, but she swallowed the words back when they reached her lips. Fengluan, I know what you want to say. Don't worry, Tianqian will not commit suicide after I die. Just as she advised me before she died, let me live well for Lu Ling. If I listen to her, she will live well because of Lu Ling. I said. Miao Fengluan was silent for a moment and then said, Lu Su, I understand you. Now that you have made a decision, you must complete it well. No matter what, I will support you. I smiled and said, Fengluan, you have been really miserable these days. Also, I have to talk to you. Why didn't you tell me that you survived? Miao Fengluan replied, I once thought about telling you, but then I thought it was not necessary. Telling you will only make you more troubled. Well, no matter what, you are back after all. I said earnestly, Fengluan, after I die, you must live a good life. You still have a long way to go in the future, and there are many good things, so live a good life. This is what I hope to see. I know how Miao Fengluan feels about me. But I, Lu Su, only have Su Tianqian in my heart. In the end, I had no choice but to let Miao Fengluan down. Okay, I will live well. It was you who brought me out of that dirty and dark place. My life is yours. I will not commit suicide. I reached out and rubbed Miao Fengluan's head. Okay, when Su Tianqian comes back, tell her for me and ask her to see all the mountains and rivers in this world for me. Okay, I'll tell her. Everything will come to an end in 2 days. These 2 days, I will be with Lu Ling every day. After these few days of getting along, Lu Ling has become very dependent on me. This little girl will burst into tears whenever she can't see me. He giggles when he sees me. On the second night, Zhao Mian came to see me. He told me to say goodbye to Lu Ling properly and that I would never see him again. I came to Lu Ling's room. This girl slept soundly, her pink little mouth wrapped around the pacifier. I reached out and gently stroked Lu Ling's chubby little face. Lu Ling, Dad is leaving. I'm sorry that Dad will be absent from your growth. But don't be afraid, you still have your mother and Aunt Fengluan, and it won't be long before your sister Cai die and your Aunt Huaxia will come back, and of course your Aunt Hangsuan. With them here, you will not be alone, and they will give you all their love. I looked at Lu Ling and felt guilty. If possible, I don't want to die, nor do I want to leave Lu Ling, I want to watch her grow with my own eyes. By the way, after Dad leaves, you have to eat well and don't stay up late. If you study, Dad doesn't require you to have good grades. Even if you get 0 points in every subject, Dad won't blame you. My daughter, just be a little princess. Of course, the most important thing to Dad is your character. Don't be afraid of being unruly and willful. The most important thing is to be kind-hearted. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1888. Well, Dad isn't too worried about this matter. After all, your mother is here. Lu Ling, you will encounter various setbacks in your life from now on, but no matter what, you must be strong. Also, you will meet someone you like and fall in love, but you must keep your eyes open. Don't contact those scumbags. Stay away. If anyone bullies you, you tell your sister Kaidi, she will definitely stand up for you and beat those who bully you into pig heads. Dad has no chance to help you. Lu Ling, don't blame Dad. Dad has no choice but to do this. One last thing, you have to remember, Daddy will always love you. I gave a lot of instructions to the familiar Lu Ling. Finally, I kissed Lu Ling gently on her fair forehead and left the room with eyes full of reluctance. Miao Fengluan came up to him after leaving the room. Fengluan, I'm leaving, and Lu Ling will be left to you. Miao Fengluan nodded, looked at me with tearful eyes, and said softly, have a good journey, all the way. I smiled at Miao Fengluan and said, okay. When I arrived at the lobby on the first floor, Zhao Mian had been waiting for me for a long time. Zhao Mian saw me coming down and said, let's go. I followed Zhao Mian and left Ji Yuntang. Arriving outside Ji Yuntang, I took one last look at the home where I have lived for a long time. Although there are all kinds of reluctance in my heart, I have to let go after all. Zhao Mian led me to a deserted place. Lu Su, after entering the tomb of the gods, you and I will disperse. No matter what happens, you must be careful. For the gods are fully prepared for your arrival. If you meet the gods before me, you have to find a way to wait for me to make peace with you. When I return to your body, your strength will be greatly increased, and you will be able to deal with God easily. I nodded and said, okay, I understand, you have to be careful too. Zhao Mian smiled and said, don't worry about me, just worry about yourself. After speaking, Zhao Mian took out a scroll from his pocket. He unfolded the scroll and spread it on the ground. I looked towards the scroll, and the content on the scroll was very strange. It was a deserted land without any color. In this deserted place, there were fierce-looking people scattered everywhere. Moreover, there is a Grand Canyon in the middle of this desolation. After the Grand Canyon are countless stone statues. I carefully identified them and finally determined that these were the appearances of the gods. Zhao Mian pointed to where the statues of the gods were and said, your final destination is here. This is where the gods reside. These gods are their tombs, and their souls are also here. I asked, you mean, I can just find this place? Zhao Mian hummed. Well, you can just find this place, but the gods will definitely notice it after you enter the tomb of the gods, and then there will be gods who will stop you. However, there is no danger to you. The most dangerous place is here. On this trip, I am determined to win. No matter what, I must win. Zhao Mian didn't say anything. He made the formula with both hands and muttered something. Soon, the scroll shone with dazzling golden light. In addition, the picture scroll is slowly disappearing. After all the scrolls disappeared, a huge shadow suddenly appeared in the sky. End of chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1889. The shadow in the sky is exactly what is on the scroll. Zhao Mian pointed to the sky and said to me, last time in the land of the fallen god, the seal of the tomb of the gods has become extremely strong, but if we want to enter the tomb of the gods, we must weaken the seal. That is to say, as long as we fail, the gods will return to the human world. They have been sealed in the tomb of the gods for too long. If they come out, the whole world will be suppressed by them. What Zhao Mian said is right. The gods have become evil, and before they would do things secretly. And this time, if they come out, they will definitely try their best to destroy the world. After all, if the law of heaven collapses, there will be no such thing as rules at all. Zhao Mian said to me while making the secrets, this trip can only succeed. If it fails, the consequences will be disastrous. Moreover, you must also understand the purpose of your trip, to sever the connection between the gods and the human world, and to sever the connection between the human world and yin and yang. As long as it succeeds, there will be no gods in the world, and yin and yang will be balanced. I said to Zhao Mian, don't worry, I won't fail. Zhao Mian hummed, and the seal in his hand was finished. I heard Zhao Mian chuckle, and a dazzling beam of light shone on Zhao Mian and me. Lu Su, remember what I just said? Just as I was about to answer, my eyes suddenly turned dark. Immediately afterwards, I felt my whole body rise rapidly, and then after 5 minutes, it fell rapidly. It's not over yet, I'm swaying back and forth like a leaf in the wind. I don't know how long it took, but I passed out again under this kind of torture. When he woke up again, he found himself in a deserted place. I struggled to stand up and looked far into the distance. The tomb of the gods was originally a deserted place. There was nothing, the whole world was grey, and in addition, there was a frightening pressure in the air. I have entered the tomb of the gods before, but that was only on the outside, but now I have entered the deepest part. I carefully felt the flow of breath around me, and finally determined a direction. Because that direction gives people an extremely terrifying pressure. I think the gods are there. I walked in that direction. The journey through mountains and rivers was extremely difficult. Soon, I saw a huge canyon. The mountains on both sides of the canyon reach straight into the sky, as if they are as high as the sky. I quickened my pace and walked toward the canyon. I stopped before reaching the canyon. The canyon is shrouded in white mist and visibility is extremely low. Moreover, I always feel like there are countless pairs of eyes staring at me in this canyon. I took a deep breath. I am no longer what I used to be. No matter what is in the canyon, I want to go in. I made up my mind and walked towards the canyon. This canyon is not only big, but also wide. Sitting in the canyon, I can't even see the cliffs on both sides. As I walked, the white mist in front of my eyes suddenly started to flow. I paid attention to my surroundings with a focused expression. At this moment, a lion's roar resounded throughout the world. This lion's roar shocked me to the point of ringing in my ears. Suddenly, I saw a huge figure directly in front of me, heading towards me quickly. My expression hardened, I held my right hand, and Jingxiao appeared in my hand. This time when I came to the tomb of the gods, I brought the whip of gods, the list of gods, and 4 divine swords. Although my Taoism is high now, I can only rely on these 3 artifacts if I want to defeat the gods. End of chapter. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1890. The huge black shadow directly in front of me was heading towards me at an extremely fast speed. The black figure ran and directly caused the surrounding white mist. The white mist swirled and drifted, making people dizzy. In the blink of an eye, the huge black shadow was in front of me. I also saw clearly what the hell that black shadow was. This is a huge lion with 9 heads. This lion is huge, with dark black hair, and each of the 9 heads of the lion has a ferocious look, making it look very scary. This is a 9-headed lion. The 9-headed lion is the 9-headed Yuan Sheng, and it is the vehicle of Tai to save the suffering god. These 9 lions gave me an extremely powerful sense of oppression. The source of this sense of oppression is naturally its huge size. I am like an ant in front of 9 lions. He could easily trample me to death. 9 lions stopped in front of me and 18 pairs of eyes looked at me up and down. It didn't talk nonsense and just opened its big mouth at me. Looking at the sharp fangs in the mouth of the 9 lions, I instantly became serious. When I saw that the 9-headed lion was about to swallow me into its belly, I directly used the 9 eyes heavenly domain. It would be difficult for me to win against this huge immortal mount if I didn't rely on the 9 eyes heavenly domain. Only by relying on the power of the 9 eyes heavenly domain can I cope better. I disappeared directly on the spot, and when I reappeared, I was already on one of the 9 heads of the 9 lions. The 9-headed lion obviously didn't react. I don't intend to waste time with him here. We must fight quickly. In addition to these mounts, I also have bigger enemies. I squeezed the art with both hands and used the 9 layers of thunder art. Powerful thunder and lightning raged around me, and I merged all the thunder and lightning into the Jingxiao sword. I condensed my expression, raised the Jingxiao in my hand, and stabbed the 9-headed lion in the head. The Immortal's mount has always been indestructible and as hard as iron. However, my sword penetrated directly into the head of the 9 lions. The moment Jingxiao pierced the heads of the 9 lions, the thunder and lightning swallowed up the 9 lions at an extremely fast speed like a tide. At what time, deafening thunder sounded in the air. The dazzling thunder also covered the entire canyon. I took this opportunity to use 9 eyes heavenly domain and disappeared. When the thunder dissipated, I looked at the 9-headed lion. I saw that the 9-headed lion had been struck by thunder and was dying, and the hair all over its body was scorched black. The 9-headed lion has a very high moral character. However, my current Taoism is not bad at all when faced with 9 lions. 8 evil stars, 99 dragon veins and dragon energy, the dragon energy of the 3 dragon veins, the energy of heaven and earth, the power of yin and yang, the power of reincarnation, plus the half-life cultivation of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva, and of course the Su family fox demon power. These forces combined make me incredibly powerful. Simply speaking, the energy of heaven and earth and the energy of dragon are not something that the 9-headed lion can compete with. After all, dragon energy and heaven and earth energy belong to heaven and earth, not themselves. I looked at the dying 9 lions without stopping and continued walking ahead. But after taking a few steps, several more figures appeared in the white mist. Those figures were walking towards me. When these figures walked up to me, I couldn't help but sneer at the corner of my mouth. These gods. They were so scheming that they actually asked their mounts to come here to stop me. However, these gods obviously underestimated me. How could these mounts stop me? End of chapter.